Thank you so much. Welcome. I hope you didn't come only to hear important lectures, but you're also having fun in Israel. Israel is known for fun, not only in Tel Aviv, but also in Jerusalem. So, איפה השלט? זה. So, I founded JVP when the venture industry in Israel began to emerge after working for several years with Teddy Kollek, the legendary mayor of Jerusalem that gave hope to many of us. We created 140 companies. We had 35 of the most notable exits in Israel. Last year, we were ranked number 6 in the world. I really don't know what the other 5s are doing, but I'll see what we can do this year. And we're managing today $1.4 billion in early stage investments, primarily in Israel, but also in Europe and the US. And we look forward to seeing how we can work with many of you guys. Last week, we inaugurated the cybersecurity hub of New York City, together with the City of New York, Columbia University, NYU, Cornell, CUNY, and some of the leading organizations in the financial, media, and healthcare systems in the United States. And we're looking to see where the next big cyber effort is going to be in the world after the US and Israel. One of the examples of a company that was inspiring to many of us is a company called CyberArk, which we helped create with 4 guys from an underprivileged neighborhood in Jerusalem and 1 guy from a neighborhood that was a little bit well off. They got together, and for many years, we worked on creating one of the leading cybersecurity company. We had an offer to sell the company for $150 million in 2011. And in the Israeli stock market, they did not want to take the company public. They said it's too small. We bought everybody out because they wanted to sell. Today, the company is traded on NASDAQ at $5 billion. You can never be a prophet in your own city, so you need to go to the other side of the world, they said in the Bible. And it's a good example of how young companies with great ideas can create amazing concepts and allow people to have jobs, innovation, not only in Israel, but also in the US, in Europe, in South America, and in Asia in a way that is inspiring to many of us. ClickTech, and as you can see, I'm wearing the Swedish flag colors, is an amazing company that started in Sweden and got together with an Israeli company, opened up a US office, and is one of the leading companies in BI and AI tools for large organizations. Once again, several $billion in a way that was inspiring and showing that Europeans and Israelis, the Vikings and the Israelites got together and we got into the US and conquered the world. So I'm saying this because there's so many examples in Europe, so many examples on the international scene today, beyond just the US, of entrepreneurs that if we work together in respective cities and build an international story, we have big stories to tell. You have to understand that in Jerusalem, it was not Tel Aviv. It was a city that was challenged. We had poverty. We had ultra-Orthodox Arab community, which is not usually conceived as business players in the arena. And we had the second Intifada, which we were afraid to send, I have 3 daughters, our daughters to school or to go into a cafe. You remember that, those very difficult times. Well, however, in those times, this is how the old Mint building that the British Mandate built for the city of Jerusalem to print money. That's how it looked like. And we turned it into the most vibrant, exciting company creator, accelerator in the country, with new ideas, new concepts, new people. We also created a performing arts center because Jerusalem is a city where people dream and create. We wanted them to perform, be on stage, have music, because young people, they are not like horses which work and sleep. They want a creative environment. And at a time that was very difficult from a security standpoint, we created an amazing scene of performing arts, of technology people, but also of social projects. You know, Jerusalem is often known and is on TV when there's conflict. But there's also amazing people, Jews and Arabs, that are working together daily in order to create an environment which is a city that is working together. And we have the most exciting social project for underprivileged neighborhoods and underprivileged kids, where we have volunteers living in a commune for 1 year before their army service and helping kids in the community together with the teachers. And we already reached, now it's a national program, 38,000 young kids, which instead of failing are getting B grades in their classes and are enjoying the afternoon recreational activities. And anybody who wants to create amazing innovation centers is wonderful. But you cannot leave big parts of society behind. You need to let them be part of the creative fervor of a city. And Jerusalem became number 25 in the world and created 20,000 jobs in innovation and healthcare over the last 17 years. So from a city that was nowhere on the startup scene, we are still not Tel Aviv, which is number 6, but we are on the map. And there's a message of coexistence that innovation is bringing together from all parts of society in our city. And at a certain point we said, if innovation can change such a tough city like Jerusalem, perhaps it can change an entire country like Israel. So we took the concept of creating centers of excellence of innovation to other regions across the country. And the first one was Beersheba. It's a city in the south, in the desert, which had at that time a young mayor, Rubik Danilovich, and an amazing woman who was leading the university, Rivka Karmi. And together, because of Israel's leadership in cybersecurity, we put together a public-private partnership idea where we at JVP will create a center of excellence, an incubator, so to speak, of cybersecurity. We will bring incentives to multinationals, and we will bring some of the technology army units from the center of Tel Aviv to the south so that there will be recreational activities and a revival. And what happened after several years is quite amazing. We have Oracle and IBM and Dell and Leidos and PayPal, and we at JVP created 14 startup companies. We have the first exits. And from a city that was conceived as a city that was behind with a great university, it's suddenly one of the fastest growing regions in cybersecurity and technology. Same thing in Haifa. Haifa in Israel is a beautiful city which has mountains and the beach, like San Francisco, only more beautiful. And no offense. But what happened, it has the Technion, which is the main technology university, and the high-tech industry started in Haifa, so to speak. But about 80,000 young people left the city in about 15 years. Because a city, like a company, needs a story. It needs a concept. It needs a big idea. Otherwise, the young people, they could study there, but they go elsewhere to create their next big thing. And so together with the mayors and together with the business industry, we came up with an idea of creating the healthcare IT quarter, digital health, in the downtown Seaport area with old buildings. We asked the universities to take some of their great data science faculties and bring them downtown from the mountain next to the sea, and small businesses, bars, and allowing the city to come back to life. We don't believe in campuses outside the city. That is a concept of the 80s. We believe in cities that put their innovation on the streets in an open street campus, next to the small businesses, next to the nonprofit, next to the academia, next to all these interesting things, because when creative things happen on the street, it's like despair. It's contagious. So it's good that other people in the city see that you are doing something creative, even if it's not in their field, because that gives them the inspiration to do their creative thing as well. One of the next regions that we're building today with the mayors is in the Galilee. Kiryat Shmona and the kibbutzim, right on the Lebanese border, very close to the Syrian border. One of the most beautiful places in Israel. The highest valley, the highest mountains and the lowest valleys, the greatest vineyards. Obviously, there's the biblical story about the Galilee, and you know who comes from there as well. But we're creating the next big food tech initiative in Israel, in the Galilee, because we think that food tech and ag tech is going to be one of the big next things of technology. And from a place where many of these municipalities were working separately, we worked together with 22 municipalities, most of them small, and are creating a big story which demonstrates quality of life which is different in style than Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, but still has the beautiful mountains, the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful process that so many people can give a new idea. And I think that in many regions around the world, cities are trying to do the same thing that you saw in a major city in your own country. Think differently. Think of a new idea. Think of collaborating with other people and bringing something that in 5 to 7 years you can become the center of excellence in your country, in your region, for the next big idea. It's not easy to find it, but it's important to think about it and crack it. At a certain point, you know, in Israel we have politics and we have high tech. If you needed to invest in one category in Israel, would you invest in politics or in technology? So anyway, innovation can not only change a country. We said if innovation can change a country and create a bridge to the world. So today, Israel is bringing innovation as part of its diplomacy to reach different regions around the world. And one of our first initiatives, you know, I was in the parliament for 5 years, came out, and I was hungry to do things internationally. And so I partnered with New York City, and together we created one of the most interesting vibrant places in Soho, together with the universities, together with the city and the Economic Development Authority of the city, EDC. And it is bringing startups from all over the world and allowing them to scale, not only in the Silicon Valley, but we said this: if the Silicon Valley is the US technology hub, New York, when it partners with Israel, can become the international technology hub. So we're now giving the West Coast a run for its money in New York City, not only large companies, but also startups on the street. And we had one of the great actress entrepreneurs, Gwyneth Paltrow, join us at the opening last week. Cities need to protect their transportation. Cities need to protect the financial organizations that work within them. Cities need to protect the hospitals. Why? In Vivatech in Paris, 2 years ago, I gave a prediction that hackers may use biological weapon in order to tamper with the makeup of drugs and create a cyber plague in some point around the world. Now, I know we don't have any evidence that corona came from cyber plague. I know that there's story about bats and all kinds of things like that. But what I can tell you, that there was a breach called Dragonfly into the pharmaceutical companies around Europe, where hackers were going to tamper with the makeup of the drug to create a major cyber plague. At the last moment, these hackers had a chance of ransomware to get big loads of money. And so they decided to take money instead of creating harm. But what I can tell you is this: every city is exposed, every hospital needs protection, the biometrical identities of people can be hacked, and countries and cities need to work together in order to protect themselves with new ideas, with new companies, and new things. And just to end on 1 minute of a note of how we created this center in New York City, and perhaps we'll be able to cooperate and do something together in your own city. יש את הוידאו?
Welcome to the International Cyber Center of New York. Why New York? Because New York is the financial center of the world. New York is the hub of media and information. New York is the healthcare center, and New York is the smart cities which changes the way cities work throughout. And if New York is the business center, it also needs protection and cybersecurity, and it can become the technology hub of the world. The 9/11 of cybersecurity is being planned right now. And the people in this hub, connected to people around the world, are creating the companies that will not only protect the banks and protect the utilities and protect the transportation in the city, but will also protect democracy and the freedom of the individuals with new concepts and new ideas. We are delighted to partner and join forces with the City of New York, with Columbia University, with CUNY, with Cornell, with NYU, to create one of the leading innovation ecosystem.
We are the organization responsible for creating good jobs and sparking innovation in New York City. With JVP, we are establishing a global cybersecurity hub in the heart of Soho, the first of its kind in New York City. JVP has also partnered with us on our Cybersecurity Moonshot Challenge. designed to create cybersecurity solutions for New York City's small businesses.
I founded JVP 25 years ago when the venture industry in Israel just began to emerge. We created over 140 companies, had 12 IPOs on NASDAQ, sold 24 companies to international leaders, and created some of the best companies that Israel has to offer in technology and innovation. We did this in Jerusalem, a city that was challenged from a security standpoint and a city that was challenged from a political standpoint. And at a certain point we said, if innovation can change a city like Jerusalem, it can change an entire country like Israel. And we brought the ideas of cybersecurity to the south in Beersheba, of food tech to the north in the Galilee, of digital health to the cities of Haifa. And what we are saying today with Margalit Startup City, that you can use innovation in order to create a bridge to the world. And so cities like New York are in the center, together with cities like Berlin and London and Paris and Amsterdam and Stockholm and Copenhagen and Milan, together with cities like Casablanca and Dubai and Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and many other places. We are creating the centers of excellence that will create the companies that will change the world of tomorrow. And we're inviting you, innovators, come join us and be a part of it.
Thank you.